at Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Coming up this evening, organized labor suspends planned demonstration over VAT on electricity. We'll give you details of that decision by organized labor that they arrived at earlier today. Also, Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service commences investigation into the death of the Form 1 student of a Brigel Senior High School. We'll give you details of this latest development, the rather unfortunate incident that we've been following quite closely here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 Plus. Tonight, we have a special report on how the visually impaired are enjoying the excitement of the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations tournament. We have details of these plus the latest in sport, entertainment and business coming up over the next 60 minutes. I am Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. Let's get into the details now here on Hot Edition. And organized labor has suspended its planned demonstration over the value-added tax on electricity following the government's decision to suspend the controversial tax. Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yaba, announced the suspension of the demonstration at a press conference in Accra earlier today.
The Indian government up to 31st January 2024 to withdraw the letter and warn authorities that if by that time the Minister for Finance has not given the directive to ECG and NETCO to stop the implementation of VAT on residential customers, we will advise ourselves. On the 2nd of February 2024, the leadership of organized labor met here and we resolved that there will be a nationwide demonstration on the 13th of February 2024. On the 7th of February 2024, government announced the suspension of the implementation of VAT on electricity consumption by residential customers. The leadership of organized labor has received a formal letter from the Ministry of Finance informing us of the new directive to ECG and NETCO. We would therefore like to inform our members that the planned demonstration scheduled for 13 February 2024 has been suspended until further notice.
Well, so that's Dr. Anthony Yaba, Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress. The move to impose a tax on the consumption of electricity by residential customers has received stiff opposition from various groups and individuals. The Ministry of Finance, in a statement, if you recall, on February 7, 2024, asked two entities, ECG and NETCO, to suspend the tax measure while the government continues to hold further engagement with stakeholders. But let's engage a bit further on this matter because Patrick Tete Binyami is the chair of the Greater Accra Regional Council of Labour of the Trade Union Congress. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
I recall the last time we spoke, you had indicated that despite the letter communicating the suspension of this VAT on electricity, as was communicated by the Finance Ministry, you were resolute. You wanted a total abolishment, a removal of this VAT. So what has led to this U-turn to suspend this planned demonstration when you had indicated that the decision to suspend the VAT was not convincing enough?
Thank you very much, my brother, and thank you very much for having me. If you read carefully in our press release and the interview granted, we indicated certain things that went wrong. That is government's intention of suspending the implementation of the 15%, resulting to the usage of the print media and then social media without writing officially or formally to the leadership of organized labor. as a result of the press conference we had yesterday, quickly government had to write to organized labor. That was yesterday, latter part of the day, getting to the evening, that they have to submit that letter. So the national leadership of organized labor had series of discussions, and then it was agreed or resolved that fine, if government is suspending the implementation of the 15% and is requesting of us, then we also have to sit down, look at it, and then find out, well, we have agreed that, okay, fine, let us also, instead of the total withdrawal, let us also reconsider our decision by suspending our planned action next Tuesday. We are looking at it and we are observing what if government will then have to come back again. In fact, what is happening, we must look at it. And this law was passed in 2013, of which our parliamentarians of both NDC, NPP, and the rest there passed this law. That these are people, are poor people who be hit the hardest, should pay a 15% tax on electricity they consume at home. Look at what is happening.
Well, but Mr. Benjamin, let me just maybe give you some point of information. I don't know if you've seen that particular bill that was approved into law in 2013, but at least based on our own checks, the bill that was approved into law in 2013 by that parliament did not include VAT on consumption of electricity by households. That was not included. So have you seen that yourself as TUC, based on which you're making this statement?
Yes, right.
Pardon?
Right. But granted that is not even there. Is it right? Granted. Is it right? For us, we will resist it. Government would want to engage organized labor. We are there. We are waiting. We haven't attacked on our position of the total withdrawal. But now, we are suspending it for now.
So let me get an understanding.
And we look at how
what this means is that you have not departed from your initial demand of a total withdrawal of this VAT on electricity.
No, we haven't departed from that. But for now, we have agreed to suspend our planned demonstration as government decided to suspend the implementation. We are all suspending that activity, that planned demonstration for now. And we hope and pray that that issue will not resurrect at any quarter for discussion. All that we are saying is that our people are suffering, our people are suffocating, teachers are suffering, nurses are suffering, workers are suffering, and enough is enough. We are only asking government to please soften the situation for us a little so that we can be able to survive whatever we are going through.
Now, in that same letter, there was also a demand or a request by the finance ministry to have some dialogue or engagement with you on this matter. When I spoke to you earlier, you had indicated that as TUC, you were not going to honor that invitation for a dialogue because there's nothing to dialogue about. You were resolute. It should be withdrawn and nothing else. So there was really no conversation. So now that you have suspended it because government has also suspended this implementation of the VAT, are you going to honor the invitation for the dialogue?
Even God, the creator of the universe, changed his mind. And if today government should invite us to a negotiating table, a round table discussion, it's the same message, it's the same language we are going to speak. It's the same thing. Government will invite organized labor for a discussion and probably we'll say we'll refuse. We'll go to the discussion table, but we'll still put our issues across what we want as organized labor.
Stay with me. Mr. Binyami, the chair of the Greater Accra Council of Labour of TUC. Kojo Poko is an energy and finance expert. It's joining us on the telephone. Mr. Poko, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening, Alfred. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So this is the TUC's...
Good evening to your listeners too.
Great. This is the TUC's amended position now. We'll suspend this nationwide demonstration because government has suspended the implementation of the VAT on electricity. The point they make is that, look, this is not the time to do this. The Ghanaian people are suffering, and they want that to be taken into consideration so that this will be withdrawn. That's their position now.
Well, demonstration is everybody's right. But as I have always said on your program, really and truly, I thought the plan of a demonstration was a bit premature because the discussion, as I have always said, was that it wasn't that government was going to do it, but government was basically having a conversation with community stakeholders to basically plan to. Yes, civil society, myself in the civil society space, and the TUC, their good self, added their voice. I think their voice was good enough, but the demonstration for me was a bit, because it wasn't implemented, and you were saying that, look, I'm demonstrating for a withdrawal. If somebody planned to do something and they put it in a public domain and you heard that roundtable discussion, which at that time they said they would do, would have been the best way to go. But let me say this. TUC should engage Parliament to have that bill amended, that act, but amended. You see, the act says that VAT on power, okay? Now, when it was passed at the same time with VAT on scratch cards at the time. The VAT on scratch card was implemented. The VAT on commercial metering for companies was implemented, but the VAT on residential was not implemented. Whatever reason that was at the time when the VAT law was passed. As long as that section 24 still exists in our statutes, one day it can come back to basically say that, look, because I had an interview, I was on an interview panel with Mr. K.T. Hammond, and he said that, well, it is a framework, and the reason there's a framework is that at the appropriate time, when the economic situation in the country is good, the government should and could bring back the VAT on electricity. But I have been a kid, and now at my age, I've never had a time when it's good in Ghana. And my brother on the phone, his members have never got to a time when they've gotten more than they asked for. So, look, when we now say that, look, let it be there as a framework, and when appropriate, that it can be introduced. For me, it's a problem. So TUC should not say that, look, yes, so I said that, look, the demonstration was very premature, but the negotiation and the discussion that they should have is with Parliament, the leadership of Parliament, to say that, look, let there be an amendment of the Act to basically go further. Because the issue of a legislation instrument, which is the LI, okay, at section 30 of the Act, didn't say shall, it said may. Okay, and in law, anything that we have read that says shall is compulsory. May is optional. So it now says the minister may introduce a legislative instrument to basically further give the direction on the section 20 to section 27. Okay, but what the organized labor and the civil society space should basically now speak to Parliament at is, look, either we now go in to say that the may should be changed to shall. So government can no longer, or minister can no longer arbitrarily now say that I am going to now do an administrative fiat by giving a letter. But now the section 30 is shall. So whenever any minister decides to want to implement any of the section 20 to section 27, it comes by a legislative fiat so that it can be debated. That's my call. But something needs to be done about the Act. And if you remember what the Vice President gave his speech, he said that he seeks to now address that, even if by the time he's president, if that statute is still in our books. So the issue is that we should still push for the amendment of the Act if we all agree that we do not want VAT on residential customers.
Well, so, so that call about engaging Parliament in this period of the engagement or the dialogue on this demand you're making, that is a representation of the voices of many people, that this VAT should be withdrawn. Is that one that you would consider taking the fight to Parliament?
Thank you very much. It looks like we are all speaking the same language, because when you look at the presentation of the Secretary General today, he indicated clearly that that is the next line of action to get to Parliament and then have this law probably repealed or have it amended. And it's clearly indicated in his presentation today. So we are all on the same wavelength, we are all on the same page, and we will get there. Whatever we are doing, we hope it will inure to the benefit of organized labor, and it will inure to the benefit of Ghanaians.
And any idea when this dialogue or this engagement is going to start?
Well, we have just called off or suspended the planned demonstrations today. Leadership is going to sit and then look at the way forward, and we'll get in touch with the public time we are through with that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
But in any case, Alfred, I wish to take the opportunity to thank you very much, and also to thank our rank and file for the enthusiasm that they have shown for this exercise. And we thank them very, 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 very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Patrick Tatabinyami is the chair of the Greater Accra Regional Council of Labour of the Trades Union Congress, joining us there. So if you just join us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, we're also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. The Trades Union Congress as organized labor, as a matter of fact, organized labor has suspended its planned demonstration over the value-added tax on electricity following the government's decision to suspend the controversial tax. Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yaba, announced a suspension of the demonstration at a press conference earlier today, and we've been speaking to Patrick Tete Binyami, who is the chair of the Regional Council of the Labour of Trades Union Congress, giving some details as to why they decided to take this position and going forward, and what form of engagement they demand. And they're talking about engaging Parliament on this matter as well. But we've been speaking to issues of labor still, because the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU, and the Federation of Universities Staff Association, they've suspended their industrial action following negotiations with government over their conditions of service. Speaking to members of the various associations, chair of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the University of Ghana, Legon, Ken Boche, indicated that they have been paid their overtime and Tier 2 allowances in full. Let's get into some details and exactly what they had to say on this matter.
Demand, we have a number of issues that we had a discussion with the government, and fortunately, in interaction with the government, one of the key issues then has to do with our 9-month arrears that was with the government, which has to do with the Tier 2 benefits. Fortunately, government has released the funds to the fund managers as we speak. That notwithstanding, the government is supposed to pay 3% arrest penalty, 3% penalty in delaying in releasing the funds. Those are other issues that we are going to discuss with the government. In addition, there's supposed to be interest calculated on the amount of money that government has released. And then the interest, we are saying that it is the government
We'll bring you details of that shortly, and then also hear a bit more from the Senior Staff Association and the Teachers and Education Workers Union, who have been speaking, giving details as to why they called off this almost a month-long strike.
It's supposed to use compound interest and not simple interest. If you use simple interest, the contributors are at disadvantage. So it's another chapter that we are going to look at it. Now, National Labour Commission is directing us to call off the strike. But we said we have other issues with the government that we have not finished. So until we finish with the government, we can't call off the strike, but we can do what? Suspend. That is allowed. So what if I call off the strike and government refuses to honor his obligation? Yes, in trade unionism, we have win-win. You scratch my back, I scratch my back, and then we are moving.
Well, so that's the chair of the Teachers and Institutional Workers Union, Tewu of the University of Ghana chapter, Ken Boche, there. Now, some more stories and issues we've been following here on Hot Edition. The Nkoko District Court has remanded all 37 suspects arrested over the attacks in Kweubepong. They are to reappear on Friday, February 23rd. 2024. In all, 37 suspects were put before the court presided by His Worship Isaac Ejay. The Ghana Police Service has arrested the suspects over the last few days in connection with attacks on the Bepong Chief's Palace and some police officers at Kweubepong in the Eastern region. The police service had earlier arrested 25 persons in connection with the attacks. Now, 12 more suspects were subsequently arrested over the incident. The suspects attacked the Bepong Chief's Palace on February 4 and injured 7 people, including 5 police officers. Now, 2 people were reported to have died after allegedly being hit by stray bullets fired by the police during the melee to disperse the ruthless crowd. According to sources, the incident occurred at the Chief's Palace, where the police had gone to rescue an alleged suspect accused of murdering 2 people at Ejumasu, a farming community in the Kweu South municipality. The suspect, 23-year-old Kwesi Tenkran, is said to be an ex-convict who, according to sources, is alleged to have raped and murdered a 45-year-old woman, Ekua Cherewa, a 65-year-old brother of the victim. Kwesi Enchi, who attempted to rescue his sister during the act, was also hit on the head with a metal, resulting in his instant death. So that is the latest in this Kweubepong attacks and matters arising. To an issue that we've been following quite closely and consistently here on 3FM 92.7, the Eastern Regional Minister, Seth Kwame Champong, says the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service has commenced investigations into the death of the Abri Girls Senior High School Form 1 student who died on Sunday. Now, Stacey Autry, a Form 1 student who was admitted to the school only a month ago, died on February 4. Now, the family accused the school of inaction that led to the death of their daughter. They claim that their child had on several occasions tried to seek medical attention from the school's internal infirmary, but was turned away over claims the deceased had been feigning the sickness. This is the Eastern Regional Minister, said Kwame Champong, on this rather unfortunate incident that we've been following here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7.
Thank you very much. I got the news. Tradition is I've been given first briefing by the managers of the school because of the nature of the passing of the ward. It has become a conversation where we require law enforcement agencies, in particular the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service, to come in to investigate the matter for us. The Ghana Education Service has its own mechanism of investigating these matters as well. So for us, it's premature to offer any form of conclusions in respect of this matter. We are here, first and foremost, to commiserate with the school. Let's express our deepest condolences to the manager of the school and the students' population at large. Our joy is that God is with us, and our prayer is that God should continue to envelop this institution, the members of the institution, and the managers of the institution. Our prayer is that the parents who have lost their ward, God should also be with them, strengthen them, shepherd them for us. We are keenly following the investigations, and we will do anything to ensure that we keep the sanctity of this institution and ensure that every matter which is addressed appropriately.
As said, Kwame Champong is the Eastern Regional Minister talking there. We understand the CID of the Ghana Police Service has been directed to start investigations into the circumstances that led to the death of this 16-year-old former student of the Brigel Senior High School. But the Ghana Education Service, we understand, has confirmed that the Eastern Regional Branch of the service is currently working on a report on the death of the 16-year-old student. A close source of the Ghana Education Service told 3FM News that the National Office of the Ghana Education Service is awaiting a report from its branch in the Eastern Region and would review all details for further action. We're still on this issue because a member of Parliament and also a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, Alexander Hotoje, is advocating for the application of standardized health protocols for students across senior high schools. And he's joining us on the telephone. Let's have a quick conversation on this matter. He's a Central Tongue Member of Parliament, Alexander Hotoje. Good evening. Thank you so much for your time here. Hotoje, can you hear me?
Good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
Alfred?
Yes. I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good evening, and good evening to our cherished listeners.
Yes, thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us. First off, it's been established that, at least based on the Parents Association of a Brigel Zone account, that they had raised concerns about the conditions at the sick bay of a Brigel Senior High School days before this girl died. Now, for the Health Committee of Parliament, how does this strike you? What should be the focus in addressing this issue, which we understand is not just peculiar to the Brigel Senior High School?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. I think let me, in the first place, extend my hearty condolences to the bereaved family of this young girl. The situation with our current health system leaves much to be desired. I'm not surprised that the sick bay in secondary schools are not up to standard. And I think that is unfortunate because if you look at the current enrollment into secondary schools, they are too huge. The enrollment is too huge. And the students are having problem with their health, they are having problem with their meals. So there is the need for us to ensure that there is an effective health system to take care of all these problems. But the unfortunate thing is that as we speak, Ghana's health system has some problems. We know health financing is at the core of all these problems. But I think that we can do better than we are doing now. In order not to allow these situations to persist, and looking at the enrollment in our secondary schools of late, there is a need for government to ensure that all the secondary schools have a functional sick days. Because at least when students fall sick, there is a need for a first aid so that these sick bays will be in the position to offer that whilst they observe the health of the students from time to time. But my only worry is that, from what I heard, the senior house mistress or the house mistress who denied the small girl exit to travel home for a better treatment, to me, has not been fair to this girl. I say this because you, this teacher, you are perfectly aware that looking at the population of the schools and looking at the congestion in the dormitories, looking at the congestion in the dining halls, students are likely to have their health in jeopardy. And knowing very well that the sick bay is starting to write them about, I don't actually know the reason why she denied these students an exit to go home for a better treatment.
No,
I want to urge government to come out with a standardized protocol in the various secondary schools in the first place. But I want to also say that there is a need, as for sick days, they can only offer first aid. But I'm throwing it to school authorities that anytime at all the children are sick and they on their own have requested for exit to travel home for better treatment, they should be in the position to release them. Because even at the sick base, you may not have, there is no doctor in any sick bay in the secondary schools. There is no doctor. And it is only a doctor that can assess a child and know the condition of the child better than any other person. The sick bays are manned by nurses. So anytime at all a student is sick and has requested for an exit to go home, they should allow the student to go. Because it is the student that is having the feelings within her body or his body. So if it comes to a point and the student is compelled to request for an exit to go home, quickly release the person. But until that is done, I am urging government that we must do something about our sick bays in the various secondary schools. There should be a standard protocol looking at the congestion in the various secondary schools.
Now, but this matter we understand the CID of the Ghana Police Service is looking into already, but is it an issue that for you, as a Health Committee of Parliament, you would take interest in as Parliament has resumed now?
We will take interest in it because it is our duty to ensure, at least we oversight health.
Okay.
Even the suggestion I am making, we must make sure that we meet the health minister and maybe the education minister. But they come out from the various modalities to ensure that we get standardized space in the various secondary schools. Not only the various secondary schools. You must be thinking about some tertiary schools and the teacher training college and some universities, the nursing institutes, for the universities, they have hospitals. And the children can access medical by other so there is a need for government to make sure that something is done about it. And we ensure that we meet the health minister and the minister for education.
That's the regional director.
To do something about this particular situation. We can't allow it to continue.
I really am grateful for your time on this matter. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us.
Alfred, I'm so grateful.
So that's the Member of Parliament for the Central Tongue constituency, Alexander Hotoje, and he's also a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, also joining us on this matter. But the incident, according to the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, highlights the weak health and safety facilities and protocols in many senior high schools in Ghana.
The situation, as emerging in Aburi Girls, it's only a symptom of deep-seated deficits in the availability of health and safety facilities, and also the lack of protocols that the school managers are supposed to comply with in managing health and safety issues when they emerge.
Kofi Osare says the practice of dealing with sick students has always been standard.
There is always a health prefect who will be the first point of reference. From the health prefect, the issue gets to the senior housemaster or the housemaster. Then the sick bay comes in. It is after the sick bay has assessed the situation and then determined that the matter needs a referral to the hospital, that the school will take the student to the hospital.
As Kofi Osare, Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. And show live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. Also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Now, we're just getting some information pertaining to the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, because they've hinted that they will not hesitate to take legal action to halt the implementation of the emissions levy for manufacturing firms in Ghana. President of the association, Dr. Humphrey Yemdake, says if the government fails to back the levy with scientific terms with respect to the measurement on the various industries and its effect, it will kick against its implementation. President of the Association of Ghana Industries disclosed this to journalists, and also Dr. Yemdake added that for the AGI, if this is not backed by science and the government uses force to implement this emissions levy, then they will take the necessary measures to protect the interest of the industries in this country. See how things play out. But there was drama at a training workshop for journalists in Kumasi, that's in the Ashanti region, when the president of the Ghana Journalists Association clashed with the chair of the National Media Commission. Well, the NMC chair, Yabudi Ayabafo, had described GJA's decision to boycott the activities of the New Patriotic Party Member of Parliament for the that's Hawa Kumsin and Farouk Aliu Mahama as dysfunctional, courting the anger of Albert Jumfor, the GJA president. Now, the GJA had ordered, if you recall, a total blackout on the two NPP MPs for their alleged involvement in violence against some journalists. Yabodo Ayabafo is chair of the National Media Commission, and this is what he said at this training workshop in Kumasi.
Let me turn my attention to the recent puerile, vicious, and violent attacks on journalists for exercising their primary obligation of informing our people. This has resulted in the equally unilateral decision of the GJA in calling for a boycott or blackout on such people. Whilst the approach is popular, it is dysfunctional.
The GJA president did not take kindly to this. He believes the NMC chair, who is a veteran journalist, is compromising his position.
Price that I'm utterly shocked that no other person came here to use our platform to chastise us than the NMC chair. And I was just if you heard me right, I was really upset with my team for letting him go. I wanted him to be here. Because when he came, we were having a chit chat. And he made mention that and I said, yes, sir. He is a senior journalist and a veteran. He didn't take his time to even ascertain from us what even informed the position. One has gone into it. He hasn't communicated to us. He hasn't gotten any information from us. And you just come here and tell us that it is just populist and it's dysfunctional. We expected him to tell us the functional measures and the functional ways we could solve this. He couldn't give us functional ways and he has run away. It's unfortunate. What is the responsibility of the NMC? Let's all know. Core functions of the NMC. 1. Promote and ensure the freedom and independence of the media for mass communication or information. What does the NMC done to promote and ensure independence of the media and the freedom of the media in this country? You abandon your call for your constitutional mandate, and a journalist, a veteran journalist for that matter, who's part of us, because today you are heading a state institution or a state organization which is supposed to be independent will now disagree with a entire media body. We have 500 bodies that came together to take this decision. So if you disagree with even GJ, you disagree with, are you saying you also disagree with Media Foundation, disagree with Giba, disagree with Primpack? It is saying,
well, that's the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Jumfor, there, not taking kindly to that position by the chair of the National Media Commission, Abodio Aibafo, describing the GJ's decision to boycott the activities of NPP MPs, Hawa Kumsin and Farouk Aliu Mahama. He described this as dysfunctional. You heard Albert Jumfor's response there. But did you know that the visually impaired actually watch and enjoy football? Well, that depends on your definition of the word watch. In a world where sight is often considered crucial for enjoying sporting activities such as football, some passionate visually impaired individuals are breaking barriers and experiencing the excitement of the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations tournament in their own extraordinary way. Grace Amoajuman and Ivy Kokoi Hesse have also been getting into the world of the visually impaired and how they are enjoying the AFCON in this report. Such a beautiful rendition of exactly how these visually impaired persons also enjoy the Africa Cup of Nations. Grace Amoajuman and Ivy Kokoi Hesse there. You can find the full story on 3news.com. Let's go for this quick break. We're back with business. Stay with us.
Around the continent.
Are you stressed from a hard day's work? Looking to de-stress and relax over soothing music and soft chats? Then join Mia Kofa on Wind Down. 3FM.
Keeping it cool, easy, nice and breezy like that. Okay, starting with Kenny Rogers. Write your name across my heart.
Write your name across my heart.
Every Monday to Wednesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and on Thursdays at 8 to 9 p.m. as I play your favorite songs on your favorite dial, 3FM 92.7. Wind Down with Mia Kofa, your smooth operator on...
Hot edition. This evening, experts are predicting a possible rise in food inflation over imported commodities from Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali as a result of those countries' withdrawal from the ECOWAS bloc. Global Credit Rating, a subsidiary of Moody's, has indicated that leaving ECOWAS will have a general inflationary impact on the domestic markets of all three countries, which will in effect inevitably be transferred to the price of food commodities imported into neighboring countries, including Ghana. The following report has more.
According to Global Credit Ratings, the movement of people across borders and trading in these countries will likely be limited, a situation that could possibly promote commodity hoarding with price hikes. Ghana currently imports 90% of its fresh tomato from Burkina Faso, with a national consumption demand in excess of 800,000 metric tons per annum, according to data from the Ghana Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending. Trade data from the Ghana Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association show that the country imports some $400 million worth of tomatoes from Burkina Faso each year. Burkina Faso and Mali also account for almost 70% of Ghana's livestock import.
That was a 3 Business News Desk report. Away from that, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has welcomed the proposed policies by flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, regarding tax reforms. In an interview with 3 Business, President of the association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, said the proposed policies are in line with the needs of the business community and will go a long way to help businesses thrive if implemented.
Taxes should be made affordable, simplified. We have also been saying that officialdom from GRA have been harassing businesses through these compliance measures that they bring, invigilation and all that. And then also the post-clearance audit that they do it frequently and all that. And so the yield levy, that is deemed as a nuisance tax, that one will also be off the table. And basically, he talked about these things, and this is exactly what the business community wants, that taxes be pruned down and reduced so that we can also grow our businesses. If indeed they've heard it, especially when he's a vice president, and then it is in good taste.
You heard the voice of the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, which brings us to the end of the business segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Minu Afo. Up next is Sports with Andam.
Good evening, it's time for Sports News on Hot Edition. My name is Emmanuel Andam. Let's start from the ongoing African Cup of Nations, where South Africa head coach Hugo Broos says he's proud of his team despite their heartbreaking semi-final loss to Nigeria on penalties.
It's a draw for Africa, for the World Cup, and you see which teams are in the group. You start seeing, okay, this team, yes, and then there is Nigeria. So I think it's normal that you know that this will be the team to beat. But after Wednesday, we know that we can beat them. So this African made us stronger. And I said already in the past that South Africa needs friendly games against the big teams. That's why you learn something. So those 6 games we played here on this level helped us a lot, and make our chances bigger to be qualified for World Cup, and this is now where we have to focus on. Yeah.
That was the voice of South Africa head coach Hugo Broos. Meanwhile, the Bafana will go on to play DR Congo in the 3rd place playoff on Saturday, while Nigeria meets host nation Ivory Coast in Sunday's final. Moving away from the AFCON, President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, has promised to put the FIFA forward funds to good use. He revealed during a Meet the Press event in Kumasi that they aim to improve the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram with the funds.
I've said here that we are constructing floodlights on the AstroTurf in Pram. I've said here that the entire land space is going to be walled or fenced. I've said here that we are going to construct a 40-bed accommodation facility. I have said here that using the same forward money, we're going to construct 2 top-of-the-range, natural grass pitches. I've also said here that we are going to invest in the procurement or purchase of vehicles for football development in the regions. These are our identified needs. I've also said, and we have done it already, what did we do? We have invested $742,000 in the construction of the first ever FIFA standard AstroTurf in Upper East. Is that not true? This is the judicious application of funding available to the FA.
So that was the voice of GFA President Keto Kriku. Now, before I take leave of you, let me nudge you in the direction of what's coming in the Premier League during the weekend. Man City will host Everton, Liverpool will welcome Burnley, Tottenham will face Brighton on Saturday. On Sunday, West Ham will play host to Arsenal, and Aston Villa will welcome Manchester United. And that brings an end to the sports news. My name is Emmanuel Andam. Up next is entertainment.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel and for the sports updates. And thank you for keeping your dial locked on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa, and we're starting with the story where homecoming slated for February 11, 2024 has been put together for Ghanaian musician Bino Ayoni at his hometown in Aplao. And the singer who won the TV3 Mentor reality show is eagerly anticipating a heartwarming return to his roots. Now, Bino Ayoni, known for his soulful voice and captivating performances, captured the hearts of viewers nationwide during his journey on the reality show. Now, as part of his homecoming celebrations, Bino Ayoni plans to pay courtesy calls on prominent figures both within and outside of Aplao. Now, the event is not only a celebration of his triumph in the TV3 Mentor reality show, but also a token of appreciation for the support from his dedicated fan base, fondly known as the Binofied family. A little bit of his performances while on the TV3 Mentor show.
Are you ready for some reggae music tonight? We're doing this one together. You ready? All right. Say what? One love. One time. One heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying. One love. Hear the children crying.
And that's Bino Ayoni on TV3 Mentor performing Bob Marley's One Love. Well, finally, before I go, actor Jonathan Majors is facing more accusations of abuse and hostile behavior less than 2 months after a judge found him guilty of 1 count of assault and 1 count of harassment against ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari. Now, the latest allegations are detailed in an extensive New York Times article based on legal filings as well as interviews with 20 individuals across more than 4 months, some of whom spoke on the condition of anonymity. Now, 2 primary interviewees were exes of Majors, Maura Hooper and former fiancée Emma Duncan. They detailed incidents in which 34-year-old Majors allegedly threatened to kill them or himself, choked them and caused bodily harm in other assaults. Now, a portion of the Times article focuses on HBO's Lovecraft Country, which earned Jonathan Majors an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series. Now, production sources described him as temperamental, saying he would treat the male staffers much more cordially than their female colleagues. Well, that's how we end the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Thank you very much for tuning in. For more news, log on to 3news.com. The 3FM Drive continues.